in this screen, even this screen, you have hands, but this is the little logo screen.
Operator, attention.
Alright, so in this screen, you have hands and a body, and you can see them because they're lit. And there's this beautiful environment in the background. And you can't move, though. This is still before you can start moving in the game. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this and saying this out loud is because this is going to be a video about the design of Boneworks and all the VR concepts and game design concepts that they use to guide the player through the story mode and teach the player how to play the game. And I'm talking this early because we're in a configuration screen. This comes up every time you launch until you do something special, which I'll show you later. But basically, I'm going to hit confirm here, and this background is gone.
Welcome, Director Ford.
Now, you might wonder why they would do that. Why you get rid of that beautiful background? Well, it's because this is the room that you can't move. This is a design decision. The reason the background's there at first is so that you're like, hey, I'm in VR, this is a normal thing, here we go. This stark room afterwards is so that you don't get curious to go to the edge of it. Now, I can't actually move with a stick, but I can move by moving my body. And if you have a very large play space, you may consider trying to move to the edge, and you may run into the edges of your play space, become frustrated. So this does that. It also might be symbolic of some things, too. This game has some cool storyline and beats, and I'm going to mention story stuff, too, because I'm trying to create holistic game development videos and game analysis videos. This is a game analysis video. We're going to try and do some development based on this later. So, identify your real-world height. Here we go. I've just shown my real-world height on the internet. Confirm. I am standing. Yes. Let's see how good it did. 3 centimeters, not too bad. Let's just auto-guess again. All right, so looking good. Confirm. So this affects how you touch the ground, and also, like, when I lift up on my tippy toes, you can see that my character's lifting up on their tippy toes. I hope you can see it. The trick with VR is I've got a lot more field of view than you can see in the video, even though I'm using a fisheye lens. I think I do, at least. Let's test it real quick. My hand, I can't see it. I can see it. I can still see it. And I can still see it. I can't see it. And so that's my vertical, and my horizontal is see it. And then I go across my face. Can't see it. Now, that may or may not align with what you're seeing. Maybe you'll see a little bit more in some cases. Maybe you'll see a little bit less. I'll see on the video later. Here we go. I'm going to hit Save Settings. And it's going to go ahead and do the little logo intro. Very cute. Just drops in. It's a little animation. Just plays in front. And now we have a loading screen. Now, note, I'm seeing a VR room that's has the Boneworks loading screen in it, not just the loading screen. All right, so here's the main menu, and you're started facing the main menu, but it's also a room. It's a little world, and there's actually a lot you can do here, and I'm going to try not to get completely focused on the main menu before. Let's go through it a little bit. The main thing is interface now doesn't have to be a series of screens. Like, this is a series of screens for choosing your game options, but like they also created a separate physical space display for your scores and your collectibles and things like that. And so this now breaks some of the concepts out of the game and into out of you know, UI conceptual space into a 3D. It's still UI, really. Like, this is a flat UI plane inside the thing here with just a nice textured background to make it look cool. And then again, this is just you know, text boxes on a UI as well, just slightly offset from the grid background there. Now the thing is, this game has really advanced movement and really advanced VR concepts. It does get some people to be sick, and I hope that you're not going to get too sick watching this video either. But you can do a lot of stuff, including climb things. You can just grab things and, whoops, lift yourself up. Hopefully, carefully. Oh, I don't. Oh no! Ah! Okay, well, Alright, let me just put that out of the way. Anyway, you can climb things by just gripping them and pulling your body down. And your whole body actually has, like, a physical simulation. Like, my hand position in real life is closer to down here right now, but my body's being pulled down by gravity in the game, so my virtual hand is up here. This disconnect actually ends up feeling like weight. It works when you're holding objects, too. I'll show you that in a second here. Now, I just got up on top of here to show some things. Standard problem in video games, it's still here. They're using the UI layer, but they have to keep it offset from the background. And it looks just fine when you're looking at it normally. Like, you wouldn't even notice that there's an offset at all, but there is. Like, it's pretty significant, too. It's about, like, an inch. Like, it's like a finger length. See? Right there. And actually, is it different on some of these? Yeah, actually, it's slightly different. So these ones are closer for some reason. So they could get away with more. Yeah, the angle's not off. Yeah, it's just some of them are different offsets. So, like, this is offset a little bit. This is offset more. I can just do the finger depth tests. But yeah, so the other thing is, so I mentioned that you're a physics rig, and I mentioned that, like, objects have weight. So, like, if I move this around, it has a swing to it. Like, I've got springs and joints and character joints and systems keeping this together, and there's actually a diagram in the game that shows how some of this stuff works. But what's also cool is, I showed you I can climb, right? I can extend my reach with a physics object that I am holding. I'm gonna go ahead and hold this in my holster. So, VR concept time. Many VR games have holsters. The concept is you place the object somewhere around your body, and then it will be put there. So there's a holster behind my left shoulder, there's a holster behind my right shoulder, there's a holster in my underarm here, you can see this one, and there's one here. These smaller holsters don't hold the full-size items, and there's another additional back holster that I call the butt holster that's just right behind you with your hands. So you just move your hand behind you, and you can put something there. I'll show you. So, like, pull the weapon out, put it behind me. And then I also have a UI representation of this too, but I don't have that in the main menu. That's interesting. I didn't actually know that. So I'll show you that when I get into the game. But in the meantime, it's in the holster. So climbing is a concept in VR, and it's going to be common in a lot of games because it's super fun. And physics is a thing and a reality, and physics rigs are a reality. I spend more time in development these days creating rigs for physical simulations. Oh, that's good. That got stuck real good there. Alright. It's not perfect, but it happens. I'm never going to complain about the physics in this game because you should see the physics in my games so far. They are jank. Not completely jank, but working on it. But see, I have now gripped the ceiling here and extended my reach with this crowbar, and I'm hanging like way off. I'm in the skylight right here, and yeah, so it feels really great to just have this much mobility in VR. Like here, let's play around with some more. I specifically said I wasn't going to screw around in main menu, but here I am. Didn't quite hook it. Anyway, let's get to the game. There's some lore stuff here. There's a clock that actually works. There's some unlock systems. Their unlock system, actually, this deserves some talking. These modules you can find in the game, and when you find them and put them into a recycler, which I'll show you later, they show up in here in a box, and then you can actually hook them into the interface. Some of them just get immediately hooked in when you get them too. They just go right in and are locked in after that point. I don't fully understand why some of them can't be removed, but hey. So, actually, maybe it's just, yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, also, note, I am using the fisheye view, so I hope that you have as much view as we can get, but there is an option to just give you the direct view, which is even worse field of view. So, but that also means that the frame rate may be a little bit bumpy, so sorry for the bumpy ride. So here's the first cutscene for the game, and I'm going to talk over it a little bit, but there's no like talking or anything. There's a big skip button here. This is how you skip things in VR, and this is a room, and when you turn... Okay, so the very first time you get in the room, this actually turns to face wherever you're facing. So like I could have been facing here and it would have gone to where I am. But it doesn't follow you around. They just leave it there. They just want to make sure that it's in front of you when you turn on it. It's also, that little bit of movement makes it show up better. Also, it's kind of cool that this game uses live action for the cutscenes. It kind of works in the narrative too, which is... It's the Tron story, right? You're going into the computer. And yes, it's a game in the computer where you're going into the computer. How cute. But I actually think that it's really wonderful, and it's been actually very inspiring to me, thematically, as well as design-wise. So among ers and ums, I'm trying to minimize. I'm also trying to minimize just casual leaning. I mean, I have to do a little bit of it just for, you know, feeling loose and actually, you know, not getting stiff just standing up. But there's going to be a little bit of that, and I hope that there's not too much for that annoys people for watching this video. So this is the very first part of the game, and clearly this is the tutorial. In this portion of the game, you can move around. And at this point, you don't know the extent of the physical universe. Like, you might not have explored Main Menu at all, or if you did, you probably explored it, you know, with the general exploration that you would expect. It's like, it's just a room, whatever, I'm going to get started with the game. So I'm going to pretend that I don't know what I'm doing, even at this point, I can escape by just lifting myself up and start going into the game. But I'm not going to do that. So we're throwing the object into the bin. We're throwing the object into the bin. I'm going to try not to do too much deep spoilers, though I am going to show a lot of stuff in this game. So that's a little piece of story that just happened there. There's a lot of the story in this game is just presented as just as things that happen, rather than, you know, as a cutscene or as a, you know, dialogue. There are talking heads, but a lot of times they lie. So if I had stayed there, he would keep talking to me and tell me how to move, and now we're gonna move on with the game. I forget, can you actually climb these yet? I don't think climbing is enabled. That's right. It's gonna say right over here that it's not. So, Monogon VR legs, locomotion, crouch, snap turn, those are okay. Jumping menu, advanced input, time slow, those are no-go. They have a little fun room in here. It has a little VR legs override, which I guess if you don't have VR legs, you could always use some VR arms, right? I guess a lot of VR left arms. Anyway. This world is strange, but it's incredibly detailed, and it's important that I show these details because modern game design is going to depend on certain assumptions that we take in VR for granted already as a player base, but as a developer base, it's still very young, and so I need to get these concepts on video. I know that I'm going to be going slow for some people who are already into VR, but this is important for people who aren't into VR too, because you might want to port to VR later, and you also might learn interesting things from VR design-wise. So one of them is a lot of the lore and a lot of the storyline in this game is hidden on just objects. It is not important things that you have to pick up, it is just pieces of trash. There's lovingness to some of these things, like they have a little... If I grip this with two hands, I can kind of bend the magazine. You can see that? It's very slight, but it's enough to give the magazine a little bit more of a feel that it is a magazine. And that, all they're doing there is just like a spring joint or something, and then just, that might be a little bit fancier than a spring joint. I didn't realize it was this good, actually. Is it? Yeah, no, it's got to be a spring trap. So it's probably okay. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm so bad at this that I don't even know how they do the simple stuff. And yeah, and we're gonna be getting bad at this together in new tutorial videos. I swear. Or at the very least, exploration videos. They might not be tutorials this time because I don't know what I'm doing. Can I really make a tutorial if I don't know what I'm doing? So, like, this candy bar is just a little piece of trash, but it has, you know, text on it. It's like, warning, this bar contains crispers. It will increase your natural ability to jump. Do not consume more than 3 crisper snacks per hour. Okay, well, that's cool. This stuff evidently makes you stronger. Maybe through VR even. Who knows? There's messages on the wall. And these messages are used to convey story. I'm not going to just read all of them, and I'm not going to explain what the storyline is. Because... Okay, we got an audio thing there. I'm sorry, But yeah, so... I'm not going to be going over what the story is. You'll see a lot of it in the game just as it is, but there's also a lot of depth to the story that isn't just presented. And if you just pick everything up, you'll learn a lot. Like, there's devices everywhere, there's clues everywhere, there's crowbars everywhere. You love the crowbar. Alright, so, I need a drink. Oh, come on, this is terrible. Who made this? Alright. Alright, so a sound event just came in while I was walking in, and then they did a little physics kick on, like, this area. Just did one of those, and called it good. And it just gives something happening to the scene. This is all stuff that you can do in Unity very easily. This is just like add explosion force, maybe just a small one, or you could even just do it as like each object that you want to move. You just give it a little kick. You just like kick at time, you know, just a trigger or something. Again, physical rigs are the name of the game now. So, like, I can pull this back, but this whole thing is... I can lift this. It is an object. It has physics. And this is just a desk drawer. But it is important that all objects behave somewhat like you'd expect them to behave in real life. Now, of course, the limitation right now is I am this unstoppable force when it comes to, like, my own... Well, I'm not unstoppable. You can see that there is something that I can do it, but I also, you know, I have a lot of power, and I can lift really spectacularly, and part of that is because I need to be able to do that to solve large-scale puzzles, but it also has to work well enough with these things, and this feels about right. It feels like I'm just messing with... Feels a little light, I guess, but then also you have to think about the sound. Like, this has a sound. That's a sound. So, you have to have impact sounds, you have to have sliding sounds. Do you hear that? There's sliding sounds. There's a lot of details that go into creating a believable world, and they are more important in VR than they have ever been in the medium. More storyline stuff. Cool laptop, bro. Look at this, like, reflection's great. So they make sure that I can prove that they've got nice cube map reflections. That they actually spend a lot of time on their reflections that are all area based. So you can see that it actually moves through and then it fades between them nicely. Compare that to, like, good old Half-Life 2, and that's a fun one, isn't it? Just pops between things. Alright. Again, like, everything in this game I can just start tearing apart if I want to, including this. Like, I don't have the strength, actually, to prove this to you, I don't think, and I can't jump... Oh, wait, here we go. I can push it a little bit. Don't ever do this at home, kids. Alright. Nice little radio. I can put it in my backpack slot. I can also throw it. I can also destroy it. Like, that's the other thing. Like, you can... Come on. Stupid sharp. Out of the way. Alright, maybe I can't destroy it. Can I destroy this? Fine China, this has to be destroyable, right? There we go. Alright, so all these things have to be here. All these things have things to read on them. All these things have details that assume that you have hands and have the ability to manipulate things however you want to manipulate them. And so keep this in mind, and like that, keep this in mind from a design standpoint too. You can use anything, any texture as a vehicle for story or for explaining what's happening in the universe, and it's much more organic than just like telling you something, because it's something that the player discovers rather than something that they just are force-fed. Anyway, bulletin board details. These things are just, it's nice, like they've got depth to them and stuff. Like, this is not just a completely flat thing. They put the post-its on top of it, which is a nice, easy thing to do. Got the stuff folding out a little bit, like this is not, you can see my finger going through right there. I have to show this stuff on a screen, and it's just so different than actually being in there. It's just so obvious, the depth of things, and so obvious where things are. Stupid things. So like when he picks it up, he picks it up with his 2 fingers for the smaller objects. Also, my hands have a lot of mobility to them too. I can squeeze the grips, and they're analog, and I've got the same for my fingers. And my thumbs have positional based on my thumb touching the controller or not. And I still can't climb. Oh wait, no, I can climb now. It's interesting. We hit this, and we go. And now I actually have access to my menu, so I can start showing things like inventory and other stuff. But I'm not going to just yet. It's because I don't have good stuff to put in my inventory. Actually, I mean, the game will show us that later. That's the other thing, is I'm showing a lot of stuff that's going to be kind of shown in the museum. Maybe I shouldn't double up. Let's just get through things. I wonder if I can reach that. So part of the fun here is, like, the game really does allow you to play a lot in the beginning areas, even if you don't know what you're doing. But you probably won't. Like, no one will probably be here ever, honestly. There's not much reason to climb this, but they might climb up that, and then they might think, like, they might accidentally grab something and be like, oh, wait, I can climb things, that's cool. Now I can't climb, wait, can I climb that? Yeah, I can. See, now, this is actually the first obstacle choice, really. And it doesn't look like one the first time through, right? Because you would just obviously pull this thing over here. And this is another rig. Here we go. It's a rotation only. It has to end at the end. It shakes a little bit at the end. Has to make sounds. You know, lots of details. Alright. This is an ammo box, just like the good old days. And inside of it is a piece of ammo. Now, I can force pull this, but also if my foot touches it, or if my hand touches it, it also picks up. And when I force pull, it doesn't pick it up until it touches my hand. So I can actually, like, do one of those. But as soon as it hits it, it goes in as ammo. The only permanent interface on the game is your bullets. This shows up only when you're looking down. It's attached to your hip, basically. Now, again, from a design standpoint, when I rotate physically in real life, my character has to rotate too. And so, if I rotate quickly, he has to kind of rotate quickly, but there is a delay, because it has to figure out, did you actually rotate? Like, I can also turn my head, and now my character's kind of facing a different direction than my actual body is. It's not terribly distracting while I'm playing, but it's happening, and there's not a whole lot to fix that right now. Right now, we don't have the body tracked. Even just a single hip orientation tracker would solve it, so that you could always have, the body would always be properly forward with your hips, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna crouch down here physically. This game also has non-physical crouch. This is a pretty important accessibility thing. This game doesn't have all the accessibility options of games. This is actually pretty advanced movement, and so they opted to not have a teleport option. That means that some people can't play this game. Like, some people can't handle smooth movement in VR. It's the normal thing that you do in video games for a long time, but when you put it on your face, it causes motion sickness for some people. So, but this game doesn't do that, and it would be very hard for it to do it. It would become a different game with a teleport. And also climbing is hard to solve in that problem anyway. But this is something that I do want to think about solutions for. Clever workarounds and options and stuff that is low impact on developers. Because we're the developers, right? We want to make games and we don't want to spend too much time dealing with details. We want to make the cool details, not the stupid ones. So again, this is just a lever. It's tied to this thing. We'll set up a lever really early on. This is going to be one of our first VR projects, is make a lever, open a door. More triggers. This field deletes anything that's counted as like a weapon or something. But all it does is just causes it to despawn the moment it touches, and it has a cool effect. It has a cool little not particle effect, but the model is replaced with a shader that's transparent, and then they use, well, not transparent, and they use stippling, not transparency. All right. So Museum of Technical Demonstration, there's other things to explore, but I'm just going to get moving.